My business trip wrapped up way sooner than I'd expected. A last-minute client cancellation left me with a sudden stretch of free time. I'd planned to be in Chicago through Friday, but there I was, early Tuesday morning, boarding the train home. My first instinct? Surprise Jessica, my wife. 7 years together, and I still loved those spontaneous moments of catching her off guard. As the train rumbled back toward Manhattan, I pictured her smile, those eyes that used to light up every time I did something unexpected. I stopped by the market near our place, picking up all the fixings for her favorite pasta, a bottle of that red wine she always insisted on, and even a few of those lavender candles she liked. I figured I'd make it a nice dinner. The flower vendor at the corner asked if it was for an anniversary as she wrapped up a bunch of tulips. Nope, just wanted to surprise my wife, I told her, grinning. Back at our building, something felt off. Jessica's car was there, but another car I recognized from the neighborhood was parked next to it. Tom, the doorman, usually couldn't stop talking, but this time he just nodded and muttered a quiet, "Afternoon, Mr. Scott," without meeting my eyes. My stomach clenched. I took the stairs instead of the elevator, careful not to make a sound. The grocery bag hung heavy in my hand, but my legs felt heavier. Inside the apartment, it was too quiet, except for the faint strains of music drifting from upstairs and other noises I didn't want to understand. I dropped the groceries next to my suitcase by the door, my heart slamming against my ribs. Slowly, I crept up the stairs, gripping the banister like it might be the only thing holding me together. The bedroom door was ajar, just a sliver. I peered in. My world shattered in an instant. Jessica, my Jessica, lay tangled in our bed, and with her was Brian Reynolds, her coworker. The same guy who'd sat at our dinner table just last month, toasting our marriage like he actually cared. My knees buckled. I clapped my hand over my mouth to stifle the cry that threatened to rip out of me. I heard them talking, bits and pieces that hit like knives. "The apartment's almost ready," Jessica said, kissing him. "Soon we'll have our own place, away from all this." "Are you sure he doesn't suspect anything?" Brian asked, running his hand across her cheek. "Mark? He's stuck in his own little dream world. He's obsessed with starting a family. He doesn't see what's right in front of him." My hands were trembling. I fumbled for my phone, taking pictures, proof I'd need later. Then I hit record, catching their voices as they plotted. After that, I slipped back downstairs, silent as a shadow. I grabbed my suitcase, the groceries, and walked out like a ghost. My tears started as soon as I hit the sidewalk, no holding them back now. The tulips I'd bought sat on the passenger seat like a quiet witness. I drove without a plan, no clue where I was headed. My phone buzzed, a reminder. 3 weeks until our anniversary. Jessica had insisted on a huge celebration, friends, family, coworkers. "I want everyone to see how happy we are," she'd said. Now I saw the truth. It was her farewell performance, a final show before she left me behind. Without thinking, my fingers found the little key pendant I always wore. Jessica gave it to me on our first anniversary. "Because you hold the key to my heart," she'd whispered. I tore it off, the chain snapping against my neck, leaving a red mark. I ended up at Matt's place, my best friend since college. He opened the door and froze when he saw me, red eyes, mascara streaks, hands shaking. He didn't even ask, he just pulled me into a hug. "Oh, Mark, what happened?" "Jessica," I choked out. "I found her with Brian in our bed." He held me tighter as I sobbed, showing him the photos, the recording. "This isn't some one-time thing," Matt said quietly after hearing them talk. "The apartment, the promotion, this goes deeper than that." I nodded, the puzzle pieces clicking into place. "There's more here. I need to know what she's really hiding." His phone buzzed. It was someone from work. His face went serious as he listened. When he hung up, I had to ask, "What's wrong?" "Some confidential contracts vanished last week," he said. "Mr. Hughes is going ballistic trying to find them." We exchanged a look, same sinking feeling in both our eyes. Just then, my phone lit up. A message from an unknown number. "I know what you saw today. You're not safe. We need to talk. The Midtown Plaza Hotel, room 412, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Come alone." "Who's that from?" Matt asked, seeing the color drain from my face. "Someone knows what I saw yesterday," I whispered. "Someone's been keeping tabs on me." I spent that night at Matt's place. Cried a little at first, but after that I just felt cold and numb. I watched the sunrise from his guest room window, thinking about Jessica and me. All those memories blurred together, our wedding, our inside jokes, her smile. "Did you get any sleep?" Matt asked, handing me a steaming cup of coffee. "Barely," I muttered. My mind wouldn't let me rest. It kept circling back to the same question, how much of our 7 years together had been real? How much of it was just a well-played performance? Every happy memory felt like a faded photograph, washed out and brittle. My phone buzzed. Jessica's name flashed on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. Almost immediately, a text followed. Where are you? I'm worried. Please call me. What a show, I mumbled bitterly. 7 years of lies. The first time I saw Jessica, she was the most captivating woman in the room. It was at a marketing tech summit in Chicago. I just wrapped up my talk on digital strategies and there she was, standing near the back, her blue eyes locked on me. You really nailed that, she'd said afterward, making her way through the crowd. Your insights on data-driven branding were incredible. She introduced herself as Jessica Scott, brand manager at Horizon Media. When our hands met, something sparked, one of those rare connections that stops you cold. A quick coffee to talk shop turned into dinner that lasted until midnight. She seemed so genuine, I told Matt, stopping mid-story as another text from Jessica popped up. How does someone fake it for that long? Matt squeezed my hand. Some people just come wired that way, he said. They can put on any mask they want. 6 months later, I landed a job offer in San Diego, double my salary. I wrestled with that decision for days, barely sleeping. But in the end, I turned it down. Deep down, I believed what Jessica and I had was worth more than any paycheck. That night, she got down on one knee with a ring. I know you passed up San Diego for us, she said, tears in her eyes. I promise I'll make it worth it every single day we're together. My phone rang again. This time it was the same unknown number from that mysterious message. I answered it with trembling hands. Hello, Mr. Scott, a low voice said. A man's voice came on the line, calm but firm. We're still on for today. It's important you come alone. Who is this? I demanded. How did you know what I saw yesterday? All in good time. Midtown Plaza Hotel, room 412. 10 o'clock sharp. Your safety depends on this meeting. The call ended, leaving me with 1,000 questions. 2 years ago, Jessica and I decided we were ready to have kids. For me, that meant months of doctor visits, painful injections, hope flickering out a little more each month. Jessica always had a reason to postpone her own tests. I'm slammed with work right now, she'd say every time I brought it up. At the company Christmas party, I noticed the way Brian looked at Jessica. It wasn't just a coworker look. It was closer. More personal. Do Brian and Jessica work together a lot? I'd asked Matt later, trying to sound casual. They're in the same team, he said, avoiding my eyes. Why? Just curious, I lied. Didn't want to come off as the jealous husband. Before heading to the hotel, I checked my phone one last time. Jessica had called 7 times, left a dozen texts, each one sounding more frantic than the last. Where are you? Please call me. I'll be back soon, I told Matt. And maybe then I'll start to understand what's really happening. Stepping into the Midtown Plaza Hotel felt like walking onto a movie set. Polished lobby. Soft music. Long, quiet hallways. My heart was pounding, but it wasn't just fear now, it was something harder. A cold anger mixed with curiosity. Room 412. I knocked. The door opened just a sliver. A man's eye peered out, cautious, then the door swung open wider. He looked about my dad's age, mid-50s, graying hair, a weary look that didn't exactly scream secret agent. Mr. Scott, please come in. I stepped inside. The room was bland, like any hotel room, nothing remarkable. He shut the door and turned the lock with a click. My name's Tom, he said. Tom? I echoed, confused. I work security at Horizon Media. Tom, the doorman? My voice cracked. You're the doorman who looked away yesterday? He gave me a tired smile. Among other things. I've seen a lot in this place, Mr. Scott. More than most would believe. He gestured to a chair. Please have a seat. I sat down, still trying to piece everything together. How did you know about what I saw yesterday? I asked, my voice trembling. I have cameras, he said, matter of fact. Not just in the lobby, certain other areas too. I saw your wife arrive with Brian. Then I saw you come in right after. And I saw you leave. But there's more, he paused, his expression turning grave. I also saw what you did upstairs. My eyes widened, my heart hammering in my chest. I've been watching your wife for a while, Tom continued. Not you, her. There's a project at Horizon Media. Codename, Ember. It's highly sensitive. Involves advanced technology and defense contracts. Your wife's been leaking information, selling it to competitors. My mind reeled. Jessica, selling secrets? This was so much bigger than just an affair. And Brian, I asked, my voice breaking. He's the go-between, Tom said. And it's not just about money for them. They're planning to take that information and launch their own firm. Undercut Horizon from the inside. They've been laying the groundwork for months. The apartment they mentioned? That's their base of operations, funded with money that shouldn't have been touched. He looked me dead in the eye. Those confidential contracts that vanished last week? The ones Mr. Hughes is tearing the place apart looking for? Your wife took them. They're likely in that apartment. It all came crashing down, the promotion talk, the apartment, the missing contracts. Jessica wasn't just cheating on me, she was betraying everything I'd believed about her. And the money, our savings, the money we'd set aside for IVF treatments, for the baby she said she wanted, that was part of it, too. Why are you telling me this? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Because I believe in doing what's right, Mr. Scott, he said. And because Mr. Hughes is a good man. Horizon's a good company, despite the rot at the core. And frankly, he shook his head, eyes downcast, what your wife's doing isn't just illegal. It's a betrayal to the company, to the country, and to you. He slid a small USB drive across the table. This has some of what I've gathered, financial records, emails, call logs. It's not everything, but it's enough to start. The apartment's in Brooklyn. I have the address and I know where she likely hid the key. He handed me the address and told me exactly where to look in our apartment, where Jessica had probably stashed the key and a hidden box. They're planning to announce their departure next week, right after the anniversary party, Tom said. They think they've got it all figured out. That party? It's their final act before they vanish, take everything, leave you with nothing but questions and a shattered heart. A cold calm settled over me. Disappear? Leave me behind with a trail of lies and a broken marriage? No way. I need to go back, I said, my voice level. Tom looked startled. Back to the apartment? It's not safe, Mr. Scott. If she even suspects. She won't, I said firmly. Jessica thinks I'm still in my little dream world. She thinks I'm too blind to see what's really going on. I need to get back. I need to find that box. I need the evidence. You'll have to act normal, Tom warned. Like nothing happened. Normal. After everything I'd seen? After everything I just learned? That would be the hardest role I'd ever played. I can do it, I said, standing. Thank you, Tom, for telling me. Be careful, he said, his eyes full of concern. You're stepping into dangerous territory. I took the USB drive, left the hotel, and stepped into the pulsing New York streets. My head was spinning, but my mind was made up. I wasn't just a betrayed husband anymore. I was a man on a mission. Step 1. Get back home. You can't go back there, Matt said, after I told him my plan. If Jessica even suspects you know. I caught my reflection in his mirror as I wiped the tears and fixed my hair. Practiced a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. Could I really fool someone who'd been fooling me for so long? I have to, I told him. I need to find the box Tom told me about. I need the proof. Matt hugged me tight. Call me the second you're out or if anything feels off. Driving back to our building felt like driving into someone else's life. I parked, took a deep breath, and walked inside. Tom was at the front desk. He gave me a knowing nod, no words, just that look. I rode the elevator up, opened the apartment door. Jessica? I called out, trying to keep my voice steady, casual. She came rushing down the stairs, eyes wide with worry. Mark, where have you been? I've been calling you all day. I was so worried. She tried to hug me. I let her, but I kept my body stiff. Her embrace felt wrong now, like it belonged to someone else. My presentation got canceled, I said, my voice light. Tech issues. So I came home early to surprise you. My phone died on the train. A lie. But it felt easy now, like I'd learned from the best. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so glad you're back, she said, pulling away from me. But her eyes didn't match the words. She didn't look relieved, more like she was caught off guard, annoyed even. Like my early return was interrupting her performance. I picked up stuff for pasta, I said, grabbing the bags by the door. And a bottle of wine. Thought we could have a nice dinner. Her eyes darted to the bags, then back to me. Pasta? Oh, that's great, Mark. But I already made plans for dinner. Work thing. It came up last minute, I tried to call you. Another lie. She hadn't made plans, she'd been busy in our bed with Brian. Oh, I said, forcing disappointment instead of the fury that was boiling inside. Okay, no problem. I'll just eat alone. No, don't do that, she said quickly, her voice suddenly urgent. Why don't you come with me? It's just a small group. Some people from the office. Brian will be there. My blood went cold. Brian. Tonight. With her. The thought of sitting across from them, pretending everything was normal, made my skin crawl. Oh, I don't know, Jessica, I said, trying to sound hesitant. I'm pretty wiped from the trip. Come on, Mark, she urged, laying it on thick. Everyone loves you and I want you there. She slipped her arm around me. I fought the urge to pull away. Please? For me. She was playing the perfect wife. I looked into her eyes and saw nothing but lies. But I knew I had to go. I needed to see them together, see if they'd slip up. Okay, I said, pasting on a smile. Sure, I'll come. Just let me change. She beamed, kissed my forehead. Perfect. We'll leave in an hour. An hour. I agreed. Upstairs, getting ready felt like putting on a mask. The happy husband. The man who didn't know his life was falling apart. I picked a shirt she always said brought out my eyes. Combed my hair. Looked in the mirror and saw a stranger about to walk into the lion's den. Dinner was a slow-motion nightmare. I sat there, smiling, making small talk with her coworkers and with Brian. She acted like my best friend, asking about my trip, how I was feeling. Her eyes, though, cold and calculating. Like she was savoring every second of my cluelessness. Jessica played the perfect hostess, charming, funny, talking about her projects and plans. Every word out of her mouth felt like a knife twisting deeper, knowing what I knew now, knowing what she was really planning. I barely ate, just nodded and smiled, eyes flicking between her and Brian, watching for any sign of the truth. They were cautious, too cautious. But I saw the glances they shared, those fleeting smiles, that silent language that only lovers know. Finally, we were home. But the performance wasn't over yet. In the bedroom, Jessica came over, wearing that soft, concerned expression she'd perfected. "Tired, sweetheart?" she asked, reaching for me. The thought of her hands on me after she'd been with him made my stomach turn. "Yeah," I said, pulling away gently. "Long trip. I'm beat." She looked a little disappointed but didn't push it. Thank God she went to get ready for bed. I pretended to. Crawled in next to her, staring at the ceiling in the dark, listening to her breathing, waiting until it evened out and deepened. And then, slowly, I slipped out of bed. This was it. Time to find that hidden box. Time to find the truth. Jessica's breathing was steady. She was out cold. I crept out of bed like a ghost. The apartment was dark, only a faint glow from the street lamps outside. My heart was racing, but my hands felt steady. Tom had told me exactly where to look. Jessica had a spare key to the Brooklyn place, somewhere she thought was safe, and a box with all the important stuff. He'd said it would be close by. Tom's instructions had been crystal clear: check the base of the old grandfather clock in the living room. Jessica loved that clock. Said it reminded her of her grandfather. That's probably why she thought it was safe. Who hides their biggest secrets in something they romanticize? A liar, that's who. I crept down the stairs. The living room was cloaked in shadows. I crossed to the clock, its dark wood polished to a shine. I got down on my hands and knees, feeling around the base. Nothing. Wait, I reminded myself. Tom had said base, not just the floor around it. I felt along the bottom edge of the clock, fingers tracing the wood. My nails caught on something, a tiny panel almost invisible against the dark wood. I worked my fingers into the seam and pulled gently. It gave way with a quiet pop. Inside, wrapped in a thin cloth, was an old-fashioned key. My heart leapt. This had to be the key to the Brooklyn apartment. My hand trembled as I held it. Tom had also said the box would be near the key. I looked around the base of the clock, nothing. Then I remembered, Jessica had a hidden compartment built into her desk in the study a few years ago. She'd said it was for important papers. I'd never paid it much attention until now. I went into the study and found her massive oak desk. I remembered the trick to open the hidden space, a precise sequence of pulling and pushing on the drawers. I tried it. Click. A side panel slid open. There it was, a small metal box, locked. My stomach clenched. Locked. How was I going to open it? Then I saw it, a tiny key taped inside the hidden panel. Relief flooded me. I slipped the key into the box's lock and turned it. My hands shook a little, but it clicked open. Inside, my breath hitched. It wasn't just papers. Stacks of cash, maybe not a fortune, but enough to make me sick. Our money. The money meant for our future. For our family. There were several fake IDs, each with Jessica's photo but different names: Sarah Johnson, Laura Anderson, Emily Wilson. Just like Tom had warned me. She was planning to vanish. Then I found it, a thick folder labeled Ember. I pulled it out. Page after page of technical diagrams, schematics, reports, stuff I couldn't begin to understand. But government logos stamped across some pages told me enough. This was the sensitive project Tom had talked about. And there it was, a USB drive identical to the one Tom had given me, but this one labeled Horizon Financials and Communications. My hands were ice cold as I plugged it into my laptop at the desk. My mind felt sharp, focused. I opened the files, spreadsheets, bank records, transfers. Huge amounts of money shifting between accounts. Accounts in places like the Cayman Islands. Shell companies. Everything was there, every shady transfer, every hidden dollar. The money trail was undeniable. Then I opened the communication logs, emails, messages between Jessica and Brian, between Jessica and names I didn't even recognize. Messages about the Ember project, about the money, about their plans, and about me. Reading them felt like a second punch in the gut. The cruelty, the way they laughed about me, about my hopes of starting a family, calling me naive and gullible. Planning how they'd leave me behind, take everything. She's so wrapped up in getting pregnant, she doesn't see a thing, Brian had written. Perfect, Jessica replied. Keeps him distracted. Gives us time. Time to steal. Time to plan their new life with stolen money and stolen secrets. I took pictures of everything, fake IDs, cash, Ember documents, their sick messages. Then I copied all the files from the USB drive onto my laptop. I put everything back exactly as I'd found it. Locked the box, stashed it back in the hidden compartment, put the key back where I found it in the clock. Made sure nothing looked disturbed. My hands were still trembling, but that cold, determined calm from the hotel room had returned. This wasn't just an affair. This was fraud. Espionage. Jessica and Brian weren't just going to leave me, they were going to burn everything down on their way out. I crept back upstairs, silent as a ghost. Slipped back into bed. Jessica was still asleep, breathing steadily. I lay there in the dark, eyes wide open. The images from the box burned in my mind. The fake IDs. The money. Their cruel words. A knot of anger twisted in my gut. But underneath it, something else, resolve. They thought they were so clever. That I'd never find out. That I'd let them win. They were wrong. The next morning, I woke before Jessica. Dressed quietly. Left a note that I had an early appointment. I couldn't bring myself to sit across from her at breakfast. Not after everything I'd seen. I drove straight to Matt's place. He was still in his pajamas, coffee mug in hand, surprise on his face. You're back, he said, relief flooding his features. Are you okay? Did you find anything? I sank into a chair at his kitchen table, took a long breath. Matt, I said, my voice cold, flat. It's worse than we thought. I told him everything. About Tom, the doorman who wasn't just a doorman, but a security guy with cameras. About the meeting at the hotel. About Ember. The stolen contracts. The plan to start their own company. And about the box, the fake IDs, the cash, the messages. Matt listened, his eyes widening with every detail. When I finally stopped talking, he was silent for a beat. Oh my God, Mark, he whispered. This is like something out of a thriller. It's my life, I said, bitterness dripping from every word. They weren't just cheating on me. They were using me, my name, my trust. Criminals. Hiding behind our marriage. What are you going to do? He asked, his voice steadying. I'm not letting them get away with it, I said. Tom told me they're planning to announce their departure right after the anniversary party. They think that party is their grand exit, their final act before they disappear. I looked at Matt, determination in my eyes. That party is going to be their downfall. I laid out my plan. The anniversary party was in 2 weeks. That gave me time. I had the evidence. Now I needed to present it publicly. In front of everyone. Jessica's family, my family, their co-workers, Mr. Hughes. You're going to expose them at the party? Matt asked, a mix of shock and admiration in his voice. Every lie, I said. Every single one. The affair, the fraud, the entire rotten scheme. I'm in, Matt said without hesitation. Whatever you need, I've got your back. I knew I couldn't do this alone. I needed my people, my tribe. Next, I called Sarah and Lauren, my closest friends besides Matt. Their reactions mirrored his shock, then anger, then a fierce loyalty. That piece of... Sarah practically yelled over the phone. I knew there was something off about Brian. Always too smooth. Whatever you need, Mark, Lauren said. 100%. Tell us what to do. I explained the plan to them. We needed a team, a circle of trust. Matt, my anchor. He'd keep me steady, help with logistics, make sure the key people were there. Sarah, my fierce protector. She'd handle any immediate fallout. Anyone trying to disrupt the reveal. She was my human shield. Lauren, my calm, detail-oriented voice. She'd make sure everything went off without a hitch. I needed Lauren's help putting the evidence together, organizing it, making it impossible to ignore. I also thought of Aunt Judy, my mom's sister. She was older but sharp as a tack, never took nonsense from anyone, and she'd always treated me like her own. I called her, told her a simplified version, that Jessica had done something terrible and I needed her there for support. She didn't press me for details, just said, I'll be there, honey. Just tell me when and where. Then there was Tom. He wasn't family or a friend, but he'd started this journey with me. I called the number he'd given me. Mr. Scott, he answered. Tom, I found the box, I said. I have everything. The Ember files, the financial records, the fake IDs, and their messages. He was silent for a beat. Good, Be careful with that, Mr. Scott. That's dangerous information. I know, I said. I'm planning to expose them at the anniversary party, in front of everyone. Mr. Hughes will be there. He paused again. That's a bold move. Risky. It's the only way, I said. They're using that party as their exit strategy. I'm gonna flip it. Use it to reveal everything. I can make sure Mr. Hughes gets a personal invitation he can't refuse, Tom said. And I can arrange for some discreet security to be present. Not in uniform, just there to keep an eye out. Thank you, Tom, I said, my voice steady. For everything. He also gave me the name of a lawyer, Mr. Peterson. He handles corporate fraud cases, Tom said. He's good. You're going to need him. Over the next 2 weeks, my apartment turned into a war room. Lauren and I worked on the presentation, organizing the photos, the scanned documents, the message screenshots, making slides that no one could deny. We kept it simple, focused. Matt handled the guest list, subtly but thoroughly, making sure the right people would be there. Sarah practiced her "don't mess with my friend" glare. Aunt Judy called every couple of days to check in, her voice warm, always ready with comfort. And me? I was still living with Jessica, still playing the part of the clueless husband. Every dinner, every goodnight kiss was a performance. And it was the most exhausting role I'd ever played. Every smile felt fake. Every conversation was a performance. She seemed relaxed, happy, even clueless. Counting down the days until her freedom, her new life. She kept going on and on about the party. It's going to be perfect, Mark. A night we'll never forget. Oh, it would be unforgettable, all right. Just not in the way she imagined. The key pendant she'd given me sat on my dresser. Once a symbol of love, now a reminder of betrayal. Soon I would break it for good. As the party drew closer, the tension grew. My friends were on edge but ready. I felt a strange combination of dread and icy resolve. There was no going back now. The trap was set. The night of the anniversary party finally came. The venue was an upscale event space downtown, with a view of the city skyline. Jessica was in a fantastic mood, radiant in a sleek dress, playing the perfect wife. I wore a simple suit, understated, just enough to blend in. My friends helped me get ready. Their faces were tight with concern, but they stood by me. You look strong, Mark, Matt said, fixing my tie. Don't forget to breathe. Just breathe, Lauren echoed, squeezing my hand. We arrived at the party. Music floated through the air. People laughed, chatted, congratulated us. Jessica led me around, playing the hostess, soaking up the praise. It felt like I was watching a play from the wrong side of the stage. I smiled. I nodded. I made small talk, waiting for the storm to break. Brian Reynolds was there, naturally, looking every bit the charmer in a designer suit. He came over, his grin wide. Mark, you look great tonight. Happy anniversary. Thank you, Brian, I said, voice calm and cold. I met his eyes. For a split second, his smile twitched. Did he see something? Or was I just imagining it? My team was in place. Matt near the entrance, greeting guests. Sarah close to the stage. Lauren overseeing the tech setup. A projector and screen that Jessica thought were for a sweet anniversary montage. Aunt Judy was at a table with some of my family, eyes scanning the room like a hawk. Tom was there too, dressed like any other guest, but his gaze roved, always alert. Mr. Hughes, the CEO of Horizon Media, arrived, his face lined with worry, no doubt still preoccupied with those missing contracts. He had no idea that the proof he needed was sitting in my laptop bag, ready to be unleashed. The party continued and Jessica stepped up to the small stage, champagne flute in hand. She beamed at me, playing the role to perfection. 7 years, she said, her voice full of practiced emotion. 7 incredible years with the most amazing man. Her eyes glistened as she looked at me. Mark, you were my rock, my partner, my everything. Lies. Every word was a lie. I stood there, my stomach churning, forcing a smile while rage and heartbreak churned beneath the surface. We've built a beautiful life together, she continued. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. She raised her glass high. To Mark, to us. Applause filled the room. This was it, my moment. I stepped forward toward the stage. Jessica's smile wavered, her eyes narrowing slightly. "Mark, what are you doing?" she whispered, her voice tight. I took the microphone from her hand. The room fell silent, eyes on me. Brian stood off to the side, a puzzled look on his face. "Thank you, Jessica," I said, my voice steady and strong, the microphone carrying my words through the room. "That was a beautiful speech. Very convincing." I turned to the crowd. "Friends, family, colleagues, thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate our anniversary." I paused, taking a deep breath. Jessica's smile had vanished. Brian shifted uncomfortably, looking like he wanted to bolt. "Jessica said she wanted tonight to be a night to remember," I said. "And she's right. It will be, but not for the reasons she thinks." A ripple of confusion spread through the guests. Jessica's face drained of color. "7 years ago, I married Jessica," I continued, my voice cracking but strong. "I thought she was the woman I'd build a future with. A family. A life." I glanced at her, locking eyes. I made sacrifices for this marriage. I trusted her completely. I let the silence hang for a moment. Then, but recently, I discovered that the woman I married doesn't exist. She's a lie. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Jessica's lips parted in shock as she instinctively reached for me. Brian's eyes darted between us. Jessica started to step forward, panic written on her face. "Mark, stop it, what are you doing?" Jessica cried out, eyes wide with panic. "I'm showing everyone the truth, Jessica," I said, turning back to the crowd. "The truth about our marriage and the truth about the woman you all think you know." I nodded to Lauren, who was at the laptop connected to the projector. The screen behind me flickered on. The first image appeared, a photo of Jessica and Brian together in our bed. A collective gasp rippled through the room. Shouts, murmurs. Jessica froze. Brian's face turned white. "This," I said, my voice growing stronger, "is what I came home to 2 weeks ago. In our bed. In our home." The next slide, screenshots of their messages. The cruel words. The planning. "This wasn't just a one-time mistake," I continued. "It was a long-term affair, deliberate, planned." The next slide, the fake IDs. Sarah Johnson, Laura Anderson, Emily Wilson. "She wasn't just planning to cheat," I said. "She was planning to vanish. Disappear with a new identity." The next slide, the financial spreadsheets, the offshore accounts. "She wasn't just betraying me," I said, my voice cold. "She was stealing from her company, from you, Mr. Hughes." I pointed at the CEO. "And from our joint savings, the money I thought we were saving for a family." The next slide, the Ember Project documents. Technical diagrams. Logos. "And she wasn't just stealing money," I continued. "She was stealing secrets, sensitive, classified information, and selling it." The room erupted. Shouts. Chaos. Jessica lunged forward, trying to reach the stage. Sarah stepped in front of her, blocking her path. Brian buried his face in his hands. Mr. Hughes stood, face purple with fury. "Sarah Johnson," a voice called from the crowd. "That's your real name?" Mr. Hughes pointed a trembling finger. "Ember? You stole Ember." "Yes, Mr. Hughes," I said, voice steady. "She did. With his help." I pointed at Brian. "It's all lies." Jessica shrieked. "He's crazy. He's making this up." "Am I?" I asked, calm now. "Or is this the truth you never wanted anyone to see?" I clicked to the final slide. A screenshot of a message from Jessica to Brian sent just days before. "Almost there. The party is the perfect cover. Soon we'll be free and rich." The silence that followed was deafening. Tom and 2 other men in suits moved quietly toward Jessica and Brian. "Mrs. Scott." "Mr. Reynolds," Tom said, his voice calm but firm. "We need you both to come with us." Brian tried to push past Sarah, but she held her ground. The other men took his arms, guiding him away. Jessica's eyes were wild, but she was quickly escorted by another security officer. The party was over. The truth was out. Chaos erupted. People were shouting, demanding explanations. Mr. Hughes was on his phone, barking orders, his face like thunder. One of Brian's co-workers was holding his head in his hands, looking completely devastated. I stood on the stage, staring out at the storm I'd unleashed. It was messy. It was painful. But it was necessary. I looked down at my hand, no key pendant there. I'd left it on my dresser, a symbol of the lock I thought had been on her heart, but it had been on my own life all along. I stepped down from the stage. My friends were waiting. Matt hugged me tight. Sarah wrapped an arm around my shoulder. Lauren gently closed the laptop. "You did it, Mark," Matt whispered. "You were incredible." Aunt Judy came over, tears in her eyes but a proud smile on her face. "That's my boy," she said, holding my face in her hands. "Strong, just like your mom." Tom approached me quietly. "Mr. Hughes is making arrangements to secure the evidence, Mr. Scott. He'd like to meet with you tomorrow." The authorities will be involved. Okay, I said. It felt surreal, like I was floating above everything. You should go home now, Tom added gently. Get some rest. Home. The place that was supposed to be ours, now just another crime scene in the story of Jessica's lies. I'm not going back there, I said, my voice steady. Matt nodded. You're staying with me. We left the party together, leaving behind the stunned guests, the whispers, and the ruins of Jessica's carefully constructed life. The next few weeks blurred together, meetings with Mr. Peterson, the lawyer Tom recommended. Talking to the police. Filing for divorce. It was all paperwork, legal terms, reliving the nightmare over and over again. Jessica and Brian were arrested. The charges were serious: corporate espionage, fraud, conspiracy. Their plan to run off together ended in a holding cell instead of a new company. Their startup never even got off the ground. Mr. Hughes was incredibly grateful. The evidence I'd given him had saved Horizon Media from a major disaster. He even offered me a job, a good one, but I turned it down. I needed a fresh start, away from that world, away from anything tied to Jessica. I sold the apartment. Found a small, cozy place in another neighborhood. Started packing up my old life. It was hard going through the memories, but every box I taped shut made me feel a little lighter. One afternoon, I came across the key pendant on my dresser. I picked it up, stared at the tiny key. It didn't symbolize her heart anymore. It symbolized my freedom. I took it outside, found a heavy rock, and smashed it until the key was twisted and broken, the chain snapped. It felt good. A release. The divorce went through. It was messy, but with all the evidence I'd gathered, I got what was fair, more than fair, considering what she'd tried to do. Rebuilding wasn't easy. Some days I didn't even want to get out of bed. Days when I questioned everything, my judgment, my worth. But my friends were there. Matt, Sarah, Lauren. They checked in constantly, took me out, made me laugh, reminded me who I was before Jessica. Aunt Judy sent care packages. Called just to listen. I started thinking about what I wanted. Not what Jessica wanted. Not what anyone else expected. Just me. I'd always loved marketing, but I wanted to do it my way. Ethically. Helping small businesses find their voices. I decided to start my own consulting firm. It was scary, but thrilling. I used some of the settlement money to get it off the ground. Late nights. Building a website. Finding my first clients. But it was mine, something real, something I built from scratch. And the dream of a family? That was still alive. Dr. Carter, the fertility specialist, told me single fatherhood was an option. It was a big decision, a different path than I'd always pictured. But it felt right. It was my choice, my future. It's been a year now since that night, since everything changed. Jessica and Brian are facing the consequences of their actions. I'm building my business, my life. It's not the life I thought I'd have, but it's better. I'm not that trusting husband anymore, living in a fantasy. I'm stronger. Smarter. And I know now that the real key to my happiness was never in someone else's hands. It was in mine all along. And now, I'm finally ready to use it to open the door to the life I truly deserve. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe for more stories that touch the soul. See you soon with another journey that reminds us all how strong we really are.